Good afternoon and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Landon Wiley here with another weather update for you. It's later on in the day, and things are starting to get going here a little bit. In this broadcast, we're going to talk about the hail updraft speeds, which means the speed of which hailstones fall out of the sky and the size of which the speed and size of each hailstone. That's the speed the hailstones fall out of the sky. Then another thing we're going to talk about is the new thunderstorm warning criteria. Because there's three criterias for severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll talk about that. But first of all, I want to start with live radar. As we got multiple things going on here. So, as you can see, counties in pink, which include Custer and Fall River counties, this is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 9 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time this evening. This does include the city of Custer, Edgemont, Hot Springs, Ulrichs. Then over into Wyoming, we got Crook, Campbell, Weston counties. And you can see here looking at the radar, there is this one little thunderstorm that has developed along the Lawrence-Pennington County line. But at this time, that's still in its developmental phase. And then you can see out here into Wyoming how there is a line of storms trying to get developed, or trying to get going, and it's kind of following that same track as the storms did last night. So these storms are going to be moving in a east by northeasterly direction. As you can see, primarily looking at radar here, as you watch this line come up out of Wyoming, you can see that these storms are primarily moving east by slightly northeast, so they will get into the Black Hills probably during the evening hours. Models are kind of hinting around that 7 p.m. time frame for these storms to get into the Black Hills. So again, as you can see on the ticker on the bottom of the screen here, the Storm Prediction Center Norman issued this severe thunderstorm watch for Custer, Fall River counties until 9 p.m. this evening. Hazards with these storms are going to be 70 mile per hour winds, hail up to 2, maybe on the high side 2.5 inches. We'll get into the hail here in a minute, and then also we're going to add potential for some heavier rains. I know northeastern South Dakota was saturated a couple days ago with some pretty heavy rains that led to some localized flooding. So again, severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 9 p.m. So then you can see the lightning counter the lightning count, that's 4 strikes. I'm thinking that is coming off that thunderstorm along the Pennington, Lawrence, Meade County line. So the thunderstorms off into Wyoming are too far away for the radar to pick up right now, as that's still a part of Riverton's. So we'd be talking this out here, North Casper's covered by the Riverton, Wyoming National Weather Service office. Crook, these counties, Western Crook, Campbell County, Wyoming, are actually covered by the Rapid City, South Dakota National Weather Service office. And then down here into Niobrara, Converse counties, down by Douglas, Lost, that's all covered by the Cheyenne office. So, as you can see on the scrolling ticker here, scattered large hail and isolated very large hail up to 2, maybe 2.5 inches. The official wording from the Storm Prediction Center is 2 inches. We'll get into that. We'll get into the hail next. Then we'll get into the thunderstorm warning criteria, because that's important to know those changes. Very important to know those. So winds to 70 miles an hour. There is a low-end tornado threat as well today, but I don't see that materializing. It'd be EF2 or it'd be EF0, EF1, or EF2 if one does spin up. Alright, so we're going to talk about the hail next. So hail updraft speeds. Ooh, that's not what I want to do. So the hail updraft speeds nope, that's not right either. Alright. So the hail updraft speeds, as you can see on the screen here, so you can see 2-inch hail is egg size hail. 2.5 is tennis ball. So 1 3/4 is golf ball. A thunderstorm is warned for 1-inch hail, and straight line winds up to 60 miles an hour. So 1-inch hail, which is a size of a quarter, falls out of the sky at 49 miles an hour. 2-inch hail, which is egg size, falls out of the sky at 69 miles an hour. So just imagine a hailstone the size of an egg falling out of the sky at 69 miles an hour and being driven by winds, straight line winds, that are also that same speed. And then obviously the bigger so that's why the larger hailstones do the damage, is because of the speed they end up falling out of the clouds. Because, you got to realize that some of these hailstones fall 40, 50, 55,000 feet out of a cloud to the ground. And then you figure they're falling at 70 miles an hour, 60 or 50 to 60 to even 70 miles an hour, depending on the size. That's why hail creates a lot of damage. Because you got the combination of it being driven by wind, the speed at which it's falling, and the size of it. So, for example, a 4.5-inch hailstone, which is the size of a softball, falls at 103 miles an hour. But for our threat today, this evening, we're talking around golf ball to egg, maybe on the high end up to tennis ball. So you're looking at anywhere from hail falling anywhere from 65 miles an hour to possibly pushing 80 if you start getting into that 2.5, that tennis ball size hail. Well, but the pea size, which is only a quarter inch, that only falls at 24 miles an hour. But obviously, you can tell looking at the screen, the bigger the hailstones, the faster they fall out of the sky. And some of that has to do with the weight of the frozen liquid, which causes the bigger hailstones. I mean, that's why they fall faster, is because they're heavier. So teacup is 3 inch, grapefruit is 4 inch. Commonly here in the Black Hills, we'll see anywhere from a quarter inch hail up to golf ball. Like I said, on occasion we do get those supercell thunderstorms that do produce those egg and tennis ball. It's not very often you'll see baseball size hail, but it can happen. Once you get above 3 inches, it gets a little rare, but those are just what National Weather Service would classify as a destructive thunderstorm. So today, the thunderstorms the National Weather Service is talking about today fits into the considerable damage threat. So there's 3 criteria for, starting this year, there's new criteria for flash flood warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and tornadoes. There's actually 4 categories for tornadoes. Now, 3 for severe thunderstorms, 3 for flash flooding. So a basic severe thunderstorm warning means winds 60 miles an hour, quarter size hail. No activation on the wireless emergency alert system. Considerable damage, which is the type of thunderstorms we're talking about for Custer and Fall River counties today. We're talking 70 mile an hour winds, straight line winds, and at least inch golf ball size hail, which is 1 3/4 inch hail. No activation on the wireless emergency alert system. Destructive, a severe thunderstorm warning that's tagged with a destructive threat means straight line winds 80 miles an hour, hail diameter 2 3/4, which is baseball size hail, and that will result in a activation of the wireless emergency alert system. And I believe that also is now criteria for sounding sirens as well now. Don't quote me on that part because I'm not 100% sure on that, but I've heard towns with those, when thunderstorm warnings that have that destructive tag, they've been sounding the tornado sirens as well. So this is, like I said, something new that came out this year. I'm going to go switch gears here for a second and show you another. Let's just kind of show you what I'm talking about here. There we go. This over here. All right, we're going to go back to live radar for a second here. All right, so as you can see in the center of the screen here, these are the warning criteria. So you can see there's your normal flash flood warning. You got your flash flood warning that's with a considerable threat, and then your flash flood warning emergency. And then again, for severe thunderstorms, we got your regular severe thunderstorm warning, your severe thunderstorm with considerable damage potential, and then your destructive severe thunderstorm. And then on the tornado side, you got your tornado warning, your tornado reported, a particularly dangerous situation, which is called a PDS tornado warning. Very common with your large wedge-shaped tornadoes. And then your tornado emergency. But we're not going to talk much about tornadoes here. So this is and this also shows you the color coding for flash flood, severe thunderstorm, and tornado warnings. You'll also commonly see these colors probably on TV too, if you watch TV. So back to radar. Alright, zooming in, let's take a look at a couple of things here. Lightning tracker, as you can see our lightning count here, detecting 9. So we got this one little swell, like I said, West Rapid City there, north of Hill City, but that's along the county line here. So we got 4% probability of hail right around a quarter inch with that storm. That's what the green triangle in the center of your screen is there, is hail, looking again, ½ hail. And I think the data just updated. No, it did not. 1% probability straight line winds. And so that's just a isolated thunderstorm that's trying to get going. Don't know if it has enough energy to get going. But it is producing some quarter-inch hail. And then over here into Wyoming, as you can see, there's still these line of thunderstorms. Some quarter-inch hail possible with this storm down here by Douglas. At this time, so we're talking this cell right here, just north of Glen Rock. Again, this whole line's moving in that northeasterly direction. We'll go ahead and run the radar loop here, as you can see. You folks in Rapid City that might be watching, you might get a little shower out of that storm off coming in from your west. Might be some quarter-inch hail with that. But the big threat, right now is to be watching what's going on out of the southwest. So it's going to be watching all this stuff. It's going to be watching all this stuff coming in out of Wyoming right here. That's going to move in a northeasterly direction. That's going to creep toward Edgemont and Custer eventually. It looks like it's just trying to form a line. If we switch over to one of the radar sites in Wyoming, primarily thinking Riverton here. I don't know. We might have to look at the Cheyenne radar. We'll get both of them and try to see which one gives us the better luck here. I'm not 100% positive. Cheyenne's radar is pretty far south to tell us a lot, and that's right on the edge range of Riverton's radar, it looks like. there there are some gray areas in these radars. There's actually several counties here in south central South Dakota that you actually have to use the North Platte, Nebraska radar, or because you can't actually, the 3 radars in South Dakota actually don't reach those counties. They're outside of the max distance of those 3 radars. So you can see that it's trying, this is looking from the Riverton radar, which is just off to the west of Casper there, but you can see it's trying to develop a line. And it's moving in that northeasterly direction. Looking outside from Custer, I can actually see the leading edge of those clouds from my place here in Custer. So, I mean, and you gotta realize Casper's 250 miles away. Some of this is already getting into parts of Campbell County, southern parts of Campbell County already, depending on which radar you look at here. So, back to the Rapid City radar. As you can see, I'll step out of the camera shot for a second. You see those, there is rain already into that southern part of Campbell County to our west. So right now these storms are not very well organized right now. They're still in their developmental phase. So they're trying to get going at this point. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to evolve, but there could definitely be some rain. And unfortunately, going back to a graphic from this morning, or from an earlier post, and I don't have that actually up at the moment, so I will switch back to this while I pull up some information here that I need to pass along. Which that information would be there. So we'll move our latent counter out of the way here. Alright, so we will go back to this. And I think and what I wanted to do. Give me a second, having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Oh, that's not what I want. What's this one? The thrills of playing with equipment you don't have a huge background in is the learning curve behind it. There we go, that's a little better. So, alright, so this is according to the National Weather Service in Rapid City. This is our severe weather threat for today. Damaging winds, large hail, lightning, heavy rain, northeastern Wyoming, western South Dakota. Coverage is going to be scattered, so you may or may not see, now you see all this the area in yellow. Right now, only Custer and Fall River counties are in the watch box. So definitely monitor the weather and have a plan. But let's look at this graphic for tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So tomorrow, temperatures are going to be in the 80s. We're going to bring another risk of severe weather again tomorrow. And then on Monday, temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s to upper 80s with the risk for severe weather. Tuesday, there's going to be a weak cold front that comes in. Temperatures are going to be back down in the mid-60s to mid-70s with a chance of thunderstorms. And then on Wednesday, temperatures are going to start warming up again with temperatures back in the 70s to 80 to around 80. And then Thursday, temperatures are going to be back in the 80s to low 90s on Thursday. So here, this is the severe threat for tomorrow on Father's Day. As you can see, once again, areas in yellow, slight risk for severe. So this is for there is a high confidence in this, so pay attention to this tomorrow afternoon and evening. Obviously, I'll be keeping an eye on that as well. So, going back to live radar, there's no lightning really, so to speak of, on our lightning counter. So there's no so there's no lightning on the lightning counter right now. That storm along the Pennington-Lawrence County line is weakening, it looks like. So the main threat right now is going to be these storms right here in Wyoming. They are moving toward us, a couple hours out yet. So stay tuned for further weather updates. But like I said, right now they're just in that developing phase, but things are starting to cook. It's like cooking a pizza or cooking tacos. You got the ingredients placed on the counter, and we're just starting to get to that point where things are starting to cook. So the ingredients are already out. They're ready to go. Now it's just a matter of, can the storms cook? So, I'm Landon Wiley. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see what the storms do. Talk to you later.